I had recently posted a short, and the short was basically me talking about using one of Neville Goddard techniques. And in using that technique, I started getting results almost immediately after beginning the technique. And what it was at the first part of the year, I started seeing myself manifesting money. So I want to get into the discussion and I want to talk about a quote from Neville. We'll discuss that and I'll incorporate what I did to use Neville's principles in manifesting and how I basically started receiving checks in the mail. Neville says, with your desire defined, quietly go within and shut the door behind you. So he's really talking about closing out the noise on the without. He says, lose yourself in desire. Feel yourself being one with the desire. Remain in this fixation until you have absorbed the life and name by claiming the feeling yourself to be and to have that which you desire. When you emerge from the hour of prayer, you must do so conscious of being and possessing that which you herefore desire. Neville Goddard, your faith is your fortune. Let's go into that because in listening to it, it almost sounds like a foreign language even coming out of my mouth. He said, listen, first and foremost, you have to define what it is. I was working with a coaching client recently. The person had given me a list of things that they wanted to manifest. When we started on the coaching call, I went about trying to help them manifest by guiding them in how to manifest this life that they desired. At the end of the call, I came to the realization after we talked thereafter, we kind of exchanged texts and emails thereafter, that's not what they wanted, but they did not define to me when we got on the call what it was that they wanted. And in part, that was my mistake because I should have went deeper in my questioning. But like I said, they had sent me this list. So what I was under the impression was they were trying to manifest solutions to the list. And as men, we tend to want to solve problems. We want to be the hero. But like I said, after talking to the individual thereafter, I realized that they were looking for something slightly different. And I could have helped them with that, but that was never communicated. So why am I bringing that up? You have to define what it is that you want. Otherwise, it's like I stated in many of my talks, it's like going to the airport and deciding on different destinations, but the agent can only send you to one destination at a time. Likewise, with your subconscious mind, it's important that you say what it is, define what it is that you want. So Neville says, define your desire if it's more money. So when I got into a state akin to sleep and I decided that I wanted to manifest more money in my life, I closed my eyes and I begun to visualize myself reaching out, seeing my hands reaching out and grabbing money and drawing that money to me. I didn't see myself as a actor on the screen of a play attracting and getting more money in my life. Physically, I felt myself physically grabbing, smelling, feeling money in my possession. And I saw myself, and I did this kind of throughout the day. You know, I just kind of would, once I created the mental movie, I would see myself throughout the day obtaining, grabbing, reaching for, feeling money in my possession. So I was programming my subconscious mind to have money, to possess money, to experience the reception of money. So Neville said this. He says, define what it is that you want, quietly go within and shut the door behind you. So he's really saying going within your own consciousness, not physically going into a closet. But if that's what works for you, if you have a recliner or a comfortable place where you normally go to get into the silence, or what Neville called getting into a state akin to sleep. This is a relaxed state. So when I was in this relaxed state, what I found myself doing is just really relaxing and playing my mental movie that I had created. And like I said, this only took a few seconds. He says at the end of this, when you emerge from your hour of prayer, he's not literally talking about you having to do this for an hour, because Neville has said in many of his other talks that this technique in seeing somebody or seeing yourself achieving an ideal desire only takes 7 to 10 seconds. It really doesn't take a long time, but he's actually playing on a phrase, sweet hour of prayer. So he says, when you emerge from your hour of prayer, you must do so conscious of being in the possession of that which you heretofore desired. So you go into your quiet place. I would suggest that you have a place that you do this on a continual basis. And what do I mean by that? Now, I'm not saying that you can't visualize when you're going about your day, if you're at the store, if you're working or whatever, and kind of get that mental picture. That's good. That's fine. But if you have a normal place where you go to relax and to get into that state akin to sleep, this is a place that it will be easier for you to access that place, because you're telling your mind and your body when you're at that location, at that place, that I'm ready to get into a state akin to sleep, and I'm ready to begin manifesting or practice manifesting a particular outcome. So like I said, Neville has also said that, go to a place that you're customary in going to, and that relaxed place where you can go. Neville had a particular chair that he would go to, and he would find himself meditating and getting into that state akin to sleep. He says, but lose yourself in your desire. Feel yourself being one with it, and remain in this fixation until you have absorbed the life and the name by claiming and feeling yourself to be and to have that which you desire. So first and foremost, we've defined what the desire is: more money, loving relationship, better health, whatever. He says, now, when you're in that state akin to sleep, that relaxed state, he says, lose yourself, just really get involved and see yourself being, doing, and having. I saw myself, like I said, reaching out and grabbing the money. So my senses were even involved. My imagination, my visual eye was involved in my grabbing this money, as it were. Now, a lot of times people say, well, Coach, I can't visualize. Get into the feeling of grabbing money, so when you're sitting there in that relaxed state, just feel what it would feel like to see yourself grabbing money. I mean, even if you hadn't had a large sum of money, you know what it is to grab money. So think about the amount of money that you would like to see manifested in your life, and begin seeing yourself drawing that to you. What you're doing is reprogramming, changing your vibration to a place to be able to receive more money. So when you're doing this repeatedly, like I said in other talks, the subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between that which you're imagining with feelings and what you're actually experiencing. So what it will do is go about to see about creating more of those incidents, if we want to call them that, those assumptions, those events in your life. And like I said, once I started practicing the technique, money started coming to me. Now, I'll also say this: the other thing that started coming to me was money ideals. I started getting ideals and people to work with, and for the purpose of creating more money. It's funny, I started thinking about how to help other people get into the state of creating their ideal life, and I posted it on my Facebook channel. and somebody asks the question, isn't this, promoting oneself? Absolutely. Listen, guys, if the only thing you do is remain in a state akin to sleep and just see money coming and you're not doing anything on your behalf, then the question is, do you really believe what it is that you're doing? You do both. You do the visualization. Like I said, I had no way of knowing how money was going to come to me. But the things that I know to do, I must do. So Neville says, live in the end. You have to begin living, being, doing what it is that you want to attract. For example, if you're talking about better health, then you have to begin living from the end. You can't continue to practice your old poor health habits and you're saying, well, I want to have a better body. I want to have a six-pack abs. I want to be able to run a marathon. Then you have to become the person that can do those things, a loving relationship. You can't continue on with a drama spirit and accusations and jealousy. If you're trying to create a loving relationship, there has to be some changes. Creating more money. You can't continue on with poor spending habits, putting yourself deeper and deeper in debt and not coming up with a plan to get out of debt. Lifestyle always follows beliefs. So when I'm telling you to begin visualizing, like I said, for me, there were some ideals that came to my spirit, things that I could share with others, things that I could do to begin not only to help myself, but to help others create that type of lifestyle. Many of us, we get into the mindset that we're only doing this stuff for us. And if you want to expand your life, begin to find someone else you can service. I spoke of this recently when I was talking about Zig Ziglar saying that if you really want to find yourself prosperous, find other people and help them be prosperous. And what you'll discover is that you'll find yourself also being prosperous. Whatever it is that you want, say a loving relationship, then begin studying the principles of being more loving, how to attract your SP. Whatever the thing is that you want to attract in your own life, begin giving that away. And what you'll discover is that it will be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will people pour into your life. So Neville says, listen, now with this, we're primarily focusing on the mental aspect. But like I said, the mental aspect must carry over into the overflow of your life. Many of us either go from one extreme or the other. Either we're doing everything at a physical level and we're not mindful of our thinking, or we're only thinking and we're not doing. Neville has even spoken in some of his talks about, don't be hearers of the word only, but also be doers of the word. So guys, listen, you got to do both. Don't get into the mindset that I'm only going to think, or I'm only going to do. Combine both of them. Have a healthy balance because you're a triune being, your mind, body, and spirit. You're not just a spiritual being, but you're all three. And you have to utilize the tools of all of these. So I talk about getting into a state akin to sleep, affirmation, visualization, emotionalization, sensing what it is that you desire. You have to do them all, though. You can't just do one aspect and then say, well, this stuff is not working. You can't, continuously find yourself, welcoming certain things in your life. And you say, well, that's not what I want in my life. You have to begin making some lifestyle changes as well. Yes, you got to do the mental work, but you also got to do the physical work. He says, now listen, remain in this fixation until you have absorbed the life and name by claiming, feeling yourself to be and to have that which you desire. When you emerge from your hour of prayer, you must do so from the conscious of being and possessing that which you heretofore desired. So once we come out of this state, like for example, I let go of once I saw myself obtaining the money. I went on about my business. I didn't just kind of think about it all day long and money's coming, money. I begun to clothe myself in the state of abundance. I just knew because I had did the work that money was coming. I had no clue how the money was coming. And like I said, it's my job to do what it is that I know to do. But I'm not doing that trying to force something to happen. I'm doing it because it's who I am. For example, I love training. I love course creation. These things I do anyway. Now, I do it now from the mindset knowing that abundance is coming no matter what it is that I'm presenting, because that's who I am. Likewise, if you're talking about a loving relationship, you begin doing what it is that, lovingly that you do on a daily anyway. But you do it from the knowing that because I am a loving person and that I attract love to me easily and effortlessly, love is on its way. You don't force it. You can't force this stuff. And that's where many practitioners get stuck. They're trying to make things happen. You do what you do because that's what you do, not because you're trying to force something. If you feel like you're trying to force it, then you need to settle down and go back through what Neville said. With your desire defined, quietly go within, shut the door of your mind behind you. Basically shut out all the distractions. Lose yourself in your desire. What is it that you desire? A loving relationship. Lose yourself, seeing yourself being in that relationship, and the feelings and all the good things that are coming from being in that relationship. Somebody even suggested that, in thinking about all the loving things that are going to take place, think about being in that relationship and figuring out something that you were in conflict about and you guys coming to a peaceful resolution. I was seeing myself 10 years out from now and the person that I wanted to do, be, and have. And I saw this stately man and I saw him, having all this money and seeing it come easily and effortlessly, and even being bored. I incorporate boredom, saying, money's just too easy to make. This was the ideology that I had, because when you're in that state, these are the things that you're going to encounter. Sometimes, having all this money and, sometimes wanting other people to share in your wealth and really not being able to share what it is that because they just don't understand, especially when you're talking about these principles. So I incorporated that in that future vision. I made it real to the subconscious mind. So I created even a dilemma in that place of abundance. Even sometimes you can be in a loving relationship and you sometimes inquire with you, well, is this all there is? So I incorporate some of the dynamics that we will have. Listen, everything is not going to always be seemingly sunshine and flowers. So sometimes even incorporate a disagreement that you and your partner may have, but like I said, how you peacefully. Now, for the person who said, well, we're never going to have any arguments. Well, let me know how that works out for you. But what you're doing is planting seeds. You're writing a story and you're putting all the dynamics in a true story, as it were. If you're writing a movie, if you just have everything sunshine and roses throughout the movie, people are going to get bored with the movie. But as you begin to add dynamics into your mental picture and see, like I said, peaceful resolutions because of a disagreement or a misunderstanding, because these things happen between two or more people. Sometimes they happen with just a single person. So my point is, incorporate those scenes and see yourself working through resolutions. See yourself in your ideal job and you solving a problem. If you're not solving a problem for your company, they don't need you. So see yourself solving a problem that they couldn't overcome. See yourself solving your clients' issues and giving them resolutions that they can use readily to transform their life and their business. If you're just seeing the thing where everything seemingly is perfect and nothing's going wrong, then when things happen in your life, you're like, where did this come from? I didn't create this. Now you don't have a solution. But if you create a challenge, an obstacle, and you see yourself overcoming that challenge, that obstacle, now you have a new tool that you didn't have before. And a lot of times when you're hearing other people talk about business, relationships, health, see yourself resolving whatever that issue, that conflict, that obstacle is in your mind's eye. And like I said, then when you step into it, it's not something foreign to you. So Neville said, listen, get the story, the desire in your mind's eye. He says, and get to a place where you're fixated on this desire. And this is only a few moments. This is not you being in this sweet hour of prayer. This is only going to take, once you start practicing this may take 3 to 15 minutes. And the more you practice, it's going to take less time. You're going to be able to just kind of see that mental picture and come out of it. You're going to claim, you're going to feel yourself being and having that in spirit, even though it hasn't shown up physically in what we call reality. He says, but when you merge from your hour of prayer, you must do so conscious of being and possessing. This is the challenge that most people face because they're still doing it at a cerebral conscious level, but it has to filtrate down into your subconscious level. And a lot of times this doesn't happen because of blocks that we may have. So sometimes you may have to work through some of the blocks that are keeping you from possessing that which you desire. And sometimes that may take working with a coach, depending upon the depths of the block, or you may even have to get with a counselor if you can't bypass that limiting belief that you've held on to for many years. And a lot of times a tool such as hypnosis that I do offer will act as a tool to help you to overcome those blocks. So think about, like I said, if you're stuck in a particular area, you may have to partner with somebody to overcome that. But Neville said, do so being conscious of possessing that which you heretofore desire. So like I said, I'm not going to harp on this, but like I said, you can have what it is that you want, but you have to get in the vibrational state of having that thing. And many of us just stay at a head knowledge, but we're not vibrating that relationship. We're not vibrating that frequency of health. We're not vibrating that frequency of more money. And of course, because we're not, then we're of those that have solely at a conscious level, but we don't have at a subconscious level. So we lose that which we have been even visualizing because we can't get into appropriate vibration. I'm going to close with this. Remember this, creators, that only you can create your perfect world, not God or man. Only you can create your perfect world. This is Coach DeCarlo. Till we speak next time, have a great and abundant day.